Listen carefully, because what I'm about to reveal is not common knowledge. It is a truth whispered through time, a truth most men will never discover. Machiavelli knew something the world still refuses to see. The greatest power does not come from wealth or charm or even beauty. Those things fade. They can be bought, imitated, or replaced. But there is one form of power that stands above them all, one ability that makes a man unforgettable. It is the power to plant yourself so deeply in someone's mind that they cannot escape you, even when you are not there. It is not loud. It does not announce itself. It moves in silence, in mystery, in absence, and it haunts me. This is not about chasing. Chasing lowers your value. This is not about begging for attention. Begging kills respect. No. This is about becoming unforgettable. The man who doesn't need to speak every thought, yet remains the loudest presence in her mind. The man she cannot erase no matter how hard she tries. The man whose silence echoes louder than another's words. That is power. That is an obsession born from absence, not abundance. And that is Machiavelli's law. 1. The power of imprint. Most men speak endlessly. They chase with words, explain with words, confess with words. But here's the truth. Talking is not power. Most men talk. Few men leave an imprint. Understand this. She will not remember every word you say. Words fade. Words dissolve into noise. What she will remember is the feeling you create. That is the imprint, the emotional fingerprint you leave behind. Confidence, tension, mystery. These cannot be quoted back, yet they echo long after you've walked away. Machiavelli observed that people do not follow actions alone. They follow the memory of emotions those actions create. And that is where power lies, in etching yourself into the mind through moments that cannot be forgotten. Not bland, not forgettable, charged. A subtle smile held 1 second too long. A pause in conversation that makes her heartbeat stumble. An unexpected challenge that forces her to rise to meet you. These are not accidents. They are psychological anchors. And anchors are dangerous because once they are planted, they do not fade. You stop being just a man she met. You become a memory she replays, a presence she feels in your absence, and that is the power of imprint. It is not about being louder, it is about being unforgettable. 2. The scarcity effect. Here is the paradox of desire. The less available you are, the more she craves you. Flood her with your presence, drown her in constant attention, and you become background noise, forgettable, replaceable, ordinary. But when you disappear with precision, when your silence slices through the rhythm of expectation, suddenly every thought of you sharpens. Machiavelli knew this. Scarcity creates value. What cannot be owned is what is most desired. Diamonds are just stones until scarcity crowns them priceless. A moment of silence is just air until it becomes the space she cannot bear. And so it is with you. This is where most men fail. They overgive. They confuse abundance with affection, thinking more is better. But in truth, the more common you are, the less you matter. Power does not come from being constantly present. It comes from being rare. One powerful interaction, charged, unforgettable, laced with confidence and tension, followed by silence, burns longer than 100 ordinary conversations. She replays it in her mind, over and over. She dissects your words, magnifies your silence, wonders what it meant, and why she doesn't have more of it. And in that hunger, she begins to chase. Scarcity is not neglect. Scarcity is precision. It is the art of making your presence so valuable that its absence becomes unbearable. And when you master it, you no longer beg for attention. Your attention becomes the prize. Scarcity does not make you invisible. It makes you priceless. 3. The hook of unfinished stories. The human brain is addicted to closure. It craves endings, explanations, and conclusions. But when something is left unfinished, when a story is left hanging, the mind cannot rest. It replays. It is wonderful. It fills in the blanks with imagination. And that is where your power lives. This is the hook of unfinished stories. Most men spill their entire lives the moment they're asked. They lay their past bare, explain their every feeling, and give away the ending before the story has even begun. But not you. You understand the art of fragments. Instead of explaining everything, you drop hints. You reveal pieces. You say just enough to spark curiosity. And then you close the door with a subtle smile and a line like, "That's a story for another time." Do you know what happens then? Her imagination takes over. And imagination is always more powerful than reality, because here's the truth. What is revealed is finite. What is withheld is infinite. And the mind, restless and hungry, will magnify the mystery of what you did not say. She will wonder. She will speculate. She will chase the missing pieces as if solving you is the only way to quiet the noise in her mind. Machiavelli knew this. The unknown intoxicates more than the known. A half-open door is more compelling than one that swings wide. A silence with weight is more haunting than an endless string of words. By leaving your stories unfinished, you don't just create curiosity, you create restlessness. And in that restlessness, she thinks of you. Not once, not twice, over and over again, until your presence is burned into her thoughts like a puzzle that demands to be solved. That is the hook of unfinished stories, an obsession created not by what you reveal, but by what you refuse to give away. 4. The contrast effect. Here is the final secret. People do not remember conformity. They remember contrast. Ordinary men blur into each other like echoes. Same compliments, same confessions, same predictable patterns. But the man who breaks the pattern, he becomes unforgettable. If every man rushes to chase, you hold back. If every man empties his soul in endless oversharing, you remain quiet, measured, controlled. If every man scrambles for her approval, you withhold yours and let her prove herself instead. It is this difference, this sharp contrast, that sears itself into her memory like a burn mark. Machiavelli understood it clearly. Distinction is power. People do not worship the common, they crave the rare. And when you refuse to blend in, when you deliberately stand apart, you no longer compete in her world. You create a new world where she must compete for you. Because you are not playing her game. You are rewriting the rules. You are bending the frame. And the moment she feels that difference, the moment she realizes you are unlike anyone else, her mind cannot dismiss you. You become the exception, the outlier, the disruption in the pattern of her life. And that is why the contrast effect is lethal. Because being unforgettable is not about doing more. It is about doing what no one else dares. It is about standing where others bow, withholding where others give, remaining silent where others beg. Contrast is not just noticed, it is burned into memory. Be unlike the rest, and you become impossible to forget. So understand this. You do not plant yourself in her mind by accident. You do it by design. Obsession is not random. It is engineered. You carve your place in her thoughts through the emotional imprint you leave, the fingerprints of tension, confidence, and mystery that linger long after you've gone. You make yourself priceless through the scarcity of your presence, showing that your attention is not cheap. It is rare, and therefore irresistible. You haunt her imagination through unfinished stories, fragments, and hints that force her to replay you in her mind over and over again. And you burn yourself into memory through the contrast of your difference, standing apart from ordinary men until you become the one she cannot ignore. This is not noise. This is not a chance. This is Machiavelli's law. Control the mind, and you control desire. Because words may fade, looks may be replaced, but the man who learns to command silence, scarcity, mystery, and contrast, he is never forgotten. And once you master this, she won't just remember you. She won't be able to forget you.